Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to talk a bit more about Starbirth. Earlier on today, I showed you the official reveal, including Charizard V-Star, that I remain extremely excited about. But there's some other cards we need to talk about, there's a new product we need to talk about, it's quite a lot to get to. So, it's time to have a bit of an update on V-Star. And we'll get to the other cards in a minute, and some of them are good. But for now, I think we need to focus a little more on this new product. Now, what it actually is the Premium Trainer Box V-Star. And it's a new thing coming out in Japan, and it comes with a bunch of packs of Starbirth, and that's all rather lovely. But there are some other things coming in here as well. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting, we've got our first look at a V-Star marker, because obviously it must be borne in mind that V-Star have this new mechanic, which is the V-Star Power, and V-Star Powers can be used only once during the game of any description. So if you do 320 damage with Charizard, you then cannot go and search any two cards using Arceus' ability. It doesn't work, unfortunately. So you need a marker there to show when it's actually been used or not. That's where your V-Star marker comes in. Jobs are good 'em. And like a lot of these packs, you've got your damage counters, your poison and burn markers, you've got yourself a coin, you've actually got a lovely little tin to keep the damage counters and all in, which is lovely. And then we've got some staples, including Ultra Ball, which we know is being reprinted, that's coming in 100 start decks, and the Mew from Celebrations, which of course has that wonderful ability, which makes your decks a bit more consistent. So this is all rather lovely. And this is coming out in Japan on the same day as Starbirth, that is the 14th of January. And it's going to be a kind of cool thing. There's nothing really exclusive in there. You know, you've clearly got a cool box and you've got your V-Star tin and all of that. But there's nothing in here in terms of promo cards or anything like that which is exclusive. What is kind of cool is that you get a whole bunch of cards to help you make decks. You know, just on the screen you can see Quick Ball, Ultra Ball, Level Ball, Mew, Air Balloon and Path to the Peak, all of which are really good cards that see a whole bunch of play. So you get yourself all of these cards. It's another one of those products which is really good for newer players because you get a bunch of packs, you get a bunch of staples to help you build your deck, and life is good. But if you have a little bit of a look there, you might notice in the top right hand corner, something looks a little bit different. There's a new type of energy. There is a new design of energy. And this happens generally when we go into a new block. Now, to be clear, Starbirth is not the beginning of a new block. Starbirth is the 9th Sword and Shield set. Over in Japan it is S9. It is very much in the Sword and Shield block. But it certainly does look like we are heading into Gen 4 remake territory and having a soft new block. I.e. we're still in Sword and Shield, but there's going to be more of a focus on the Gen 4 remakes and things of that description. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a great image of the energy. I'm very, very sorry. But what I can do here is show you the fighting energy that we've been using for a little while. And anyone that knows me will know fighting energy was the only one I was ever going to pick. And you will notice, you can see them side by side. This is the one that we've had since the Sword and Shield base set. And now we've got a new design of energy. Is it better? It's a completely subjective question. I mean, what we've basically got here is a much fancier design. And you've got those little things coming out from the side rather than a little plume on the top. It's up to you whether you prefer it. As far as I'm concerned, there's only really two basic energy types that we ever really need to take seriously. And that is base set energy, because, come on, it's the original and still the best. And the ones from Call of Legends, or really the Heart Gold Soul Silver era as a whole, but Call of Legends brought them in holo, that actually give you that lovely background and Pokemon silhouette, and fighting energy actually isn't the best of them, I'll be honest with you. But those are the best energy they've ever made, and it's not even close. Base set if you want to go old school because they are iconic, but the Heart Gold Soul Silver energy, unless they go really crazy, will always be the best. So it's a new product and it shows us a new type of energy, and that's kind of big and kind of cool. But we've also got a bunch of new cards we need to take a look at as well. We've got a new Pokemon, a new type of special energy, and 2 new supporter cards. Now, the least interesting among them is probably the Pokemon, and that is Moltres. It's a good Pokemon, but I'm not convinced it's game-breaking. What we've got here is 120 HP, which is standard, but does put it in the range of things like Rapid Strike Urshifu. You really want 130 nowadays. Although, to be fair, even Rapid Strike Urshifu is going to be playing Inteleon, so I'm not entirely sure how safe 130 really is, but at least you'd make them use a few more resources to take you out. And the translations, of course, come from the lovely Antoine Boulet. That should be a given at this stage. Antoine is very much our favourite. And what we've got is for 1 fire energy, 20 damage. If this Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 70 more damage. This attack's damage is not affected by weakness, and that kind of kills a card right there. Now, 90 for a single energy, let's be clear, is good, but they are positioning this like Zapdos from Team Up and like Hooper. That's essentially where we're going here. And it's very clear that we are talking about the same cards. Hooper from Darkness Ablaze, I should have said. Because both of those were single energy. Hooper was 90, but it had to come active this turn. Zapdos was 80 if it became active this turn. But neither of them hit for weakness. Just like Moltres here doesn't hit for weakness. And if you did hit for weakness, that would actually be kind of cool, because Kricketune is a really good, widely played 180 HP, 2-prize, weak to grass Pokemon. But that's kind of irrelevant, because of course you don't hit for weakness. And this is fine, and there is an obvious combo with Magma Base, and I did show you that in the previous video. That is the stadium that once during your turn lets you attach a fire energy from your discard pile to one of your benched fire Pokemon, and then you place 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. So you're not even really using your attachment for the turn here. Generally what you're doing is using the stadium, get the energy on, get the damage on, and then of course you've got to get into the active. So it's weird. You don't have to jump in and out the active like Zapdos and Hooper tell you to, but because you've pretty much got to use a stadium, and yes, I know there's other ways to self-damage, but you've basically got to use this stadium, that's where you're going to be going. You kind of got to be on the bench and come active anyway, because the stadium only attaches to the bench. So it's single energy 90, and certainly, turn 1, going second, you'll get evolving Pokemon, you'll get weaker support Pokemon. There are definitely cool things about this, but it is as good as, say, Zapdos or Hooper. And we all know that for a while Zapdos was actually amazing. Hooper's been a nice tech. This will see play. It'll be put in a bunch of decks, it'll do some decent damage, but just like we saw with especially Hooper, the fact that it doesn't hit for weakness is going to be potentially a bit of an issue. Still a good card. I'm giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies, but don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Totally expected to see a whole bunch of play. Don't expect it to be a game-breaking card. Something that could potentially be a game-breaking card is Double Turbo Energy. And as you can clearly see from the card, it is a double colorless energy, but I didn't call it double colorless energy. I called it Double Turbo Energy, which means there is a catch, and there is a catch. Incidentally, more proof if anyone needed, we ain't getting double colorless energy back anytime soon. While this is attached to a Pokemon, it provides 2 colorless energy as expected. But attacks on the Pokemon this card is attached to deal 20 less damage to your opponent's Pokemon. Cool. And it really is as simple as that. 2 colorless energy, but you deal less damage, but it's 2 colorless energy, so yeah. It's still nuts. It's still a great card. And the fact of the matter is, no, you don't want to give up the damage. Obviously, you don't want to give up the damage. Interesting, of course, that Double Rainbow Energy way back in the day was Double Rainbow Energy. But any damage done to your opponent's Pokemon by the Pokemon Double Rainbow Energy is attached to was reduced by 10. That was also only for evolved Pokemon. This works on basics as well. Point being, Double Rainbow Energy reduced the damage that you dealt. This reduces the damage that you dealt. Make no mistake about it, this is a phenomenal card. And sure, you're giving up a little bit of damage, boo, hiss, etc. But the fact of the matter is, there are going to be Pokemon which aren't viable, that become viable. I mean, the classic example is always when double colorless energy was reprinted in Heart Gold Soul Silver, and overnight Garchomp Sea Level X went from, hey, that's cool, some people are playing it, to the best card in the game and a staple of like a billion super successful decks. Because the fact of the matter is, it could attack consistently and reliably with double colorless energy in a way that it just couldn't without double colorless energy. We're going to see that here. And obviously, there are going to be some Pokemon where that extra 20 damage takes them out of range of KOs that they need, and those Pokemon are going to look at this and be like, nah, don't need that. But there are going to be plenty of other Pokemon that go, you know what? Yeah, no, that totally works, and I love it. Make no mistake about it, this is an absolutely brilliant card. And you can look at something like, we've got to look at the obvious here, Arceus V-Star, which is a colorless Pokemon, and that's got that lovely attack for free energy, 200 damage. Search your deck for up to 3 basic energy and attach them to your Pokemon V in any way you like. Yay, etc. However, let's not forget about Arceus V. Because Arceus V has a similar attack. Now, admittedly, you don't deal any damage, but it lets you attach up to 3 basic energy from your deck to your Pokemon V in any way you like, and then shuffle your deck. Same attack, no damage. The thing is, it doesn't matter if you're dealing 20 less damage if you're not dealing any damage to begin with, and this is where we start getting very, very excited indeed. This is good. This is really good. Certainly for Arceus V, this is a great, great energy, but it's one of those, I'd need kind of a 20-minute video just to go through some of the top options here. Any Pokemon that can use colorless energy and needs multiple is going to love this. Now, we do need to compare it to Twin Energy again and say that until Twin Energy rotates out, and let's be clear, Twin Energy has got a rotation or regulation mark of D, which means it's going to rotate out at the end of this season. This has a regulation mark of F, which means it's going to last 2 more years. But until Twin Energy rotates out, single prize, non-V, non-GX Pokemon are definitely going to use Twin Energy, obviously. But even in those decks, you can now play 4 Twin Energy and 4 of these in the same way we used to go 4 Twin Energy, 4 Triple Acceleration Energy, and the Twin Energy were better, but now we had 8 options. That's going to be the case here. I am not saying that Mad Party is some kind of amazing deck because it comes in and out the format, but I can tell you that losing Triple Acceleration Energy gave Mad Party 4 energy they could use, and that really was just devastating for the deck. Sure, this lets you deal 20 less damage, not ideal, but it certainly makes the deck viable in a way it wasn't before. There are a million decks that are going to love it, and there will be some where the 20 less damage really does just make it not a consideration, but there are going to be plenty others where this goes nuts. It's a 5 WotC card. This is a 5 WotC card because it is going to take some decks that shouldn't be viable and make them viable. And then we've got a couple supporters as well. Get ready for the Gen 5 remake train to really pick up some steam, because there's a new Cheren card. Gen 5 remakes confirmed. It's Cheren's Care, and what it allows you to do is put one of your colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters on it, and all cards attached to it, into your hand. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know what that means? It's Ace Roller. But it's nerfed Ace Roller, which incidentally, and you can kind of tell with Pokemon, one of the big tells is if they release just a literally nerfed version of a previous card, you're not getting that previous card back. Ace Roller let you put one of your Pokemon that has any damage counters on it and all cards attached to it into your hand, whereas Cheren's Care lets you put one colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters on it and all cards attached to it into your hand. If Ace Roller was coming back anytime soon, there would be absolutely no reason to print this card purely for colorless Pokemon. So the fact that we have this card necessarily means Ace Roller is not getting a reprint, and that's not some kind of big, giant prediction. It's just a given at this stage. Is it any good? Yes. Ace Roller was good. This is good. The real difference is Ace Roller was good in basically every deck that wasn't continually being one-hit KO'd. This is good in every colorless deck that isn't being continually one-hit KO'd. The general rule here essentially is, if you're playing a colorless deck and you're not getting one-hit KO'd, do it, ladies and gentlemen. Do it. Because we're in a two-hit KO format right now. We see one-hit KOs now and then when we've got weakness, etc., but the majority of the Pokemon out there are getting two-hit KOs. We've got things like Rapid Strike Urshifu setting up two-hit KOs, Ice Rider Calyrex. Shadow Rider Calyrex can get up to one-hit KOs, but it takes a bunch of damage. Single Strike Urshifu can get up to one-hit KOs, but it takes a bunch of single strike energy. So, where weakness isn't an issue, generally speaking, you're going to be two-hit KO'd. And while we're here, I've got to mention, we got Dunsparce. And Dunsparce is a Pokemon right now that removes weakness from colorless Pokemon. So, I told you that unless you're being hit for weakness, you are rarely being one-hit KO'd. And then we've got the Dunsparce, which is actually in Fusion Strike, a very new Pokemon, which guarantees you're not being hit for weakness. And the pair of these cards together is crazy. You're not being hit for weakness, making it way less likely you're ever being one-hit KO'd, and then you got Cheren to heal you so you don't get one-hit KO'd. The combination of these cards together is absolutely brilliant. Now, some people, the lovely Joe Bernard among them, have pointed out that a lot of the time, this isn't going to be a huge deal, because we've already got Cheryl. It's not like this is the only supporter card out there that lets you heal between two-hit KOs. We've had Cheryl for a while. The difference is that Cheryl makes you discard all of your energy. This makes you pick up the Pokemon, including the energy. Now, in both situations, you lose the attachments. The energy that was on there is no longer on there. The difference is Cheryl puts it in the discard and Cheren puts it into your hand. But you still got to find a way to get the energy back on. As a side note, obviously having that new double energy could be kind of interesting. Could be kind of fun. Cheren's not going to work for every deck, but in the decks where it will work, it's Ace Roller, and Ace Roller was amazing. There's no reason why this one won't be. I'm giving it between 4 and 5 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. And the only reason it's not a 5 Wassie card is because it is limited to colorless decks. And even then, weaker colorless decks won't play it. But make no mistake about it, for things like Arceus V-Star, this is amazing. And then we can finish off with Kindler. Now, Kindler is not on the same level as Cheren, but it's still not too bad. What we've got here is you discard a fire energy from your hand, and then you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose any 2 cards you find there and put them into your hand, shuffling the other cards back into your deck. And like so many cards, we can basically look at this and go, oh, it's such and such a card. Because actually, this is a slightly better, slightly worse version of Misty's Determination. Now, Misty's Determination, which I always remember because the lovely Tamao actually went and won the very last ever UK National Championships with a Vespiquen deck that played this. But Misty's Determination let you discard any card from your hand, look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put 1 into your hand. This lets you discard only a fire energy, so that's a bit worse. And you only look at the top 7 cards rather than the top 8, which is a bit worse. But you can choose any 2 cards and put them into your hand, which is a billion times better. In fire decks, I really like this. I don't like that it's got to be a fire energy, because there will be times you can't use it. You've got to have Kindler and a fire energy in your hand at the same time, which is super awkward. Although, to be clear, if the fire energy is absolutely crucial, make it one of the cards you search for. Obviously. This is a great card. It's a real niche card, but it's still a phenomenal card in the right deck. And I do like it. I don't think it's going to be as impactful as Cheren, but between Kindler and that Magma Basin I showed you earlier and in the previous video, fire decks are back, ladies and gentlemen, and I am pretty happy about it. So there we go, 2 new supporters, a new Pokemon, a new special energy, and a very exciting new product. And a new design of basic energy. Quite a lot for one video, but we had to go through it all. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, and as always, it's now over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of these cards. Tell me what you think about the new design of special energy. No, basic energy. Tell me basically whatever you want to. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.